What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Farzy Show. My name is Marc Farzy. This is the Farzy Show, presented by Destination Retirement, DestinationRetirement.com. And we're coming to you from the Steven Sanger Studios after a piping hot day of NBA Twitter. Holy Stromboli. What a day we had of NBA Twitter, especially surrounding your Philadelphia 76ers. The Phillies get blanked by the Rangers. It's my favorite line. I say it often when we have a general manager, a manager, or a coach, or a player that just doesn't do his job repeatedly, and it's from the critically acclaimed film Office Space. What is it you say you do here? Jerry's familiar. What is it you do here? We'll get to that. But the Phillies bats were terrible yesterday. Like I said, blank 7-0 against the Rangers. They lose the first game of that two-game series. They have 4:05 start time today. So we'll get into that game today. And also a little fashion statement from Philly Rob, as he's become known. We'll get into that conversation regarding the Phillies interim manager, Rob Thompson. We got some Eagles conversation to get into today. The Flyers as well. Plenty of meat on the bone for you and me today, folks. So let's jump on in. Let's start with the big news. The big news comes by way of Brian Windhorst of ESPN. It also comes by way of Keith Pompey of the Philadelphia Inquirer. First, some nuggets dropped on ESPN yesterday by Brian Windhorst about the 76ers and what they're exactly interested in when it comes to trying to trade Matisse Thybulle and that 23rd overall pick in tomorrow's NBA draft. Here's Windy yesterday on ESPN.
Look for a little bit of Eric Gordon sweepstakes, in play. A couple of teams that I've heard interested, the Philadelphia 76ers and the Phoenix Suns. Yet Chris Paul looking for a potential reunion with his former teammate there. Philadelphia also in the mix for PJ Tucker, by the way, just opted out of his contract with the Miami Heat.
As soon as humanly possible. I'm all for it, for both deals. Eric Gordon, sure, come on down, and especially PJ Tucker. As I talked about yesterday on the show, you get PJ Tucker in this line. Imagine taking PJ Tucker and imagine taking Matisse Thybulle. You take Thybulle out, he's gone, and you put in PJ Tucker. You want to talk about defense? You want to talk about a hard-nosed player? You want to talk about a guy that see Philadelphia can get behind? I'm all for that deal. The Sixers are looking. Daryl Morey is looking to free up some cap space by putting Matisse Thybulle in a deal with the 23rd overall pick and trying to free up some space there. Credit to him. It's what I've been wanting them to do all along. As long as they are adding talent that is ready to play right now and not taking somebody that they're going to take years to groom and not be able to help out Joel Embiid right now, not being able to help out Tyrese Maxey or James Harden, trying to advance past the second round of the playoffs, I'm all for just adding somebody who is ready to play. The idea of PJ Tucker in your starting lineup is a very good idea to me. The idea of adding Eric Gordon to come off your bench is a very good idea. I didn't even realize that Gordon shot over 41% from beyond the arc last year. I would love to see him be able to do that by coming off the bench for the 76ers this year. Now, Keith Pompey takes this story and pushes it a little bit further. In today's Inquirer, you'll see that Keith Pompey is reporting the Sixers, according to multiple sources, are interested in they're offering PJ Tucker a 3-year, $30 million deal. Now, what did I tell you yesterday? Yesterday, I said that PJ Tucker opting out of that $7 million deal is an obvious hint that he is looking to make a couple more bucks. I didn't think that he would choose the Philadelphia 76ers. Maybe Daryl Morey, with his time working with him in Houston, knows how to sweet-talk PJ Tucker just a little bit. Maybe PJ Tucker looks at Joel Embiid. Maybe he looks at James Harden. Maybe he looks at Tyrese Maxey, and obviously Daryl Morey as well, and says, these guys are going somewhere. Let me jump on this train right now and see where it'll take me. Still has the opportunity to win another championship like he did with the Milwaukee Bucks, and has an opportunity to be a big contributor and loved in the city of Philadelphia. If he's not what you want in a player, I don't know what you want in a player. Outside of going and getting somebody who's just going to make it rain threes throughout an entire game, I don't know what else you would want on this team other than a hard-nosed defensive player that you know every single night is going to bring it. especially on the defensive end of the court. Every night he's going to give you his max effort. I would love to have that. PJ Tucker, 37 years old, and still looking to crack some heads in the game of basketball. I think he would be great for the city of Philadelphia. More importantly, I think he'd be great for the Philadelphia 76ers. And as I highlighted for you, Kyle Neubeck of Philly Voice just yesterday had pointed, or 2 days ago rather, had pointed out how much Joel Embiid loves the game of PJ Tucker by saying he does all the little things very, very well. And if you want a guy that's going to hustle every single night, if you want a guy that's going to bring it every single night, PJ Tucker's the guy you want. This is what Joel Embiid was alluding to months ago when he was talking about PJ Tucker and what he's able to bring to the table as a member of the Miami Heat. What he was able to bring to the table as a member of the Milwaukee Bucks. The Milwaukee Bucks needed him against the Brooklyn Nets in that series. They needed him to be all in the face of Kevin Durant in that series. And that's exactly what he can do for the Sixers. It's what he went on to do for the Miami Heat. It's what he'll be able to do for the 76ers. And something tells me that Daryl Morey is going to get this done. Taking a step further, Adrian Wojnarowski on ESPN yesterday. It's draft week, so things are all spicy meatballs right now in the NBA. Adrian Wojnarowski on ESPN yesterday was talking about Daryl Morey and how aggressive he has been around the NBA draft and what he's done with the 23rd overall pick as far as shopping it goes. And Woj on ESPN yesterday said that if you're a general manager in the NBA and you have not gotten a call from Daryl Morey involving the 23rd overall pick, then you probably have your phone turned off. Or perhaps you live in a cave. The live in a cave part was me. But you get what I'm saying. Morey is being very aggressive. So, what does it all mean? Well, also adding the idea of getting Eric Gordon. I know the obvious jokes are out there about possibly having another version of the Houston Rockets, just maybe the Houston Rockets of Daryl Morey's time with James Harden, Eric Gordon, and also with PJ Tucker, that it's now the retirement community for those Houston Rockets teams of the late 2010s. All right? I'm not so sure that's the way it's going to go. Because what it feels like more so than anything is you're taking that team and you're throwing Tyrese Maxey on it and you're throwing Joel Embiid on it. Those two players, by taking a step further with Eric Gordon, with PJ Tucker, with James Harden, that's probably a bit of a better basketball team. I'm going to go ahead and assume that, regardless of them being a couple of years older. I love the idea of the two guys that the Sixers are tied to right now and adding them to the bunch. I think it's going to be a big step forward from what you had last year. I know that a lot of people feel like you can wait for Matisse Thybulle to take that next step with his three-point game and become a more legit 3-and-D guy. The Sixers do not have that time for him to develop that. Now, next year, he's not going to come in here and all of a sudden start shooting the lights out. I don't have a lot of confidence in that. I still like Matisse Thybulle. I still think he's going to be a defensive player of the year candidate. I just don't have time here in Philadelphia with Joel Embiid and not wanting to waste that prime, and also not wanting to waste the years of the press. I don't want to wait for somebody to be developed, whether that's the 23rd overall pick, whether that's Matisse Thybulle. I need rapid growth. I need at least what Tyrese Maxey has been able to give you from year one to year two. That's what I need for the Sixers, for me to have faith in the Sixers to take that next step forward, for the city of Philadelphia to have faith in the Sixers taking that next step forward. Now, you can talk about adding stars. You can talk about adding guys that are going to be demanding the ball a lot more. The aforementioned, we talked about a million times, in Bradley Beal. Some news on him also broke yesterday. Zach LaVine, whether or not he's going to be making moves and all that stuff. All that, we could talk about adding those really big-name guys. But right now, if you're going to be adding those glue guys, those smaller role guys, the guys that aren't going to be demanding the ball in crunch time, the guys that will just be there to make stops and hopefully hit you some threes like Gordon might be able to and give you those stops like PJ Tucker might be able to, those are all steps forward, steps in the right direction the Sixers need to take. I'm glad to at least see right now at this given time, Daryl Morey take a look at the starting lineup and go, I can definitely crack the starting lineup up a little bit with PJ Tucker, and I can certainly get some help off the bench with Eric Gordon. Eric Gordon was a starter for the majority of last year. He has come off the bench in his career. PJ Tucker, for the most part, has been a starter. So for me, I think you're going to make some good, solid upgrades. I don't think they're overall hugely game-changing For me, that's going to come down to Joel Embiid. That's going to come down to Tyrese Maxey. That's going to come down to what version of James Harden you're going to get in the upcoming season and whatever they're going to get over the next 3 years, assuming that he does go through with the $47 million opt-in and he does go through with a 2-year short-term contract after that. That's not a max deal. All that is stuff that has to be worked out by Morey in the front office. But right now, if you just get PJ Tucker in this lineup and you get James Harden, I'll say more of a point guard than a scorer, more of a facilitator. I can't believe I said it. Than a scorer, I think the Sixers are going to be in good hands next year. And I still think there's going to be something else in the back pocket of Daryl Morey after this. I think you're going to help out your second unit tremendously, and I think you're going to help out your starting five, making them more championship contending ready, which is something they will not be with full in the starting lineup. And whatever you get out of Danny Green, you'll get out of Danny Green. Whatever he's able to do coming back from that knee injury at the age that he's at, we'll see what we're able to get back from him, see what the Sixers are able to get back from him as it goes on. But I like what I'm seeing so far just in terms of interest, and I like what I'm seeing so far in terms of aggression from Daryl Morey in the front office, knowing that they can't take somebody at 23. They got to trade that pick. Whoever they take, quote unquote, and then they trade away is the better option there. I can be almost 1,000% positive of that. So credit to Daryl Morey for at least getting his name out there, for at least getting the aggression out there, for at least wanting to make this team better in the offseason as opposed to making some major moves before the trade deadline. That's something, as I've talked about many times, is something I don't want to sit through right now. Don't need to do that. I want to go into the season thinking this roster, as is, maybe some tweaks at the trade deadline, they'll have what it takes to be able to really contend for at least the Eastern Conference final spot and hopefully an NBA final spot as well. It's funny, if you ever bought a house, maybe you walked through, and I remember when we bought our house, my wife said, this house just needs a couple tweaks. Just needs a couple tweaks. The Sixers house needs some tweaks. And I think they need some rather large tweaks. Like in my house, we had to knock down a couple walls. Those to me weren't tweaks. That's remodeling. That's not maybe we just put the refrigerator over here. That's a tweak. Oh, just need new windows on the first floor. It's a bit of tweak. It's not major construction. Knocking down walls. That's a big thing. So we knocking down walls, we changing windows. What are we doing with the Sixers? I think in some areas, the knockout is going to come in what version of James Harden we're going to get. If he's able to go into that gear and say, let me downshift a second here, realize I got Joel Embiid, realize I got Tyrese Maxey, let me depend on those guys to do scoring, let me get the open shots when I have the open shots, so that way I can still create that spacing, something you never had with Ben Simmons here. And that's how this team, I think, will take that big step forward. Also, yes, I think you're getting a better player in PJ Tucker, and I think you're going to improve your bench with Eric Gordon. If that's what the Sixers are able to do, I'm all for it. 1,000 times over. I'm all for it. Something else I wanted to get into today regarding that name, Ben Simmons. And I have to do it. I have to do it before I talk about the Phillies, because I just can't help myself. This came out on Sunday, I believe it was. And for the people on the podcast, if you haven't seen this picture yet on social media, it was trending yesterday. It came out, I believe, on Sunday, and it really started to pick up yesterday. It is a picture of Ben Simmons sitting on a boat in a fisherman's chair with a ginormous fishing pole anchored to his midsection while he's sitting there. And I can't imagine what he's going after. Marlin? Maybe? Tuna? Maybe even a shark. I don't know. But the caption from Nets Kingdom, at Nets Kingdom AJ, Brooklyn Nets Ben Simmons enjoying vacation, hashtag Nets World. I don't understand, folks. A guy that just had a back injury, caused him to miss an entire year. All right. Hey, maybe he's working on his mental health. How about that? He wants to be on on a boat and catch fish. Good for him. But when it comes to a physical ailment, as someone that has had a bad back, and anyone that's had a bad back, and look, we're not professional athletes like Ben Simmons. We all know that backs are a fickle thing. Oh, my back feels great. This is great. And then the littlest thing, like you reach for your toothbrush and, ow, what the hell? This guy's out getting Marlins after back surgery. I don't know how anyone can ever look at Ben Simmons and go, man, that guy just really loves ball, man. I have said this a million times about Ben Simmons, and I think it's so unbelievably true. It was true about Andrew Bynum. It's true about Ben Simmons. There are certain guys that just love what basketball brings them and not what they bring to basketball, or at least could bring to basketball. And I think for you and I, us mere mortals, when we look at professional athletes, we look at them and go, how do you not cherish every second of your profession? And it goes well beyond the money. You get to play this game that you supposedly love. How do you not love? How do you not try to take advantage of every second of that? And then you have guys like this who are just like, well, it's nice that I can play basketball and pay the bills. It's not exactly me trying to be the best basketball player I can be. It's me trying to live my happiest life. And you know what? I can't fault anyone for trying to be happy in life. But damn, if you're a professional athlete, you have guys out there that are looking to take your head off every time you're playing, looking to embarrass you every time you play. If you don't have that next step competitive edge, you're not going to be anything special. I just think Ben Simmons just really enjoys what basketball brings him. Loves what basketball brings him, doesn't love basketball. And that's an unfortunate thing for a guy that has that much base talent, I'll call it. And I saw that picture yesterday. I was like, did this guy just have back surgery? That's the last thing I'm doing. Let me put extra strain on my back. Now watch, he was going for goldfish. So it would be no. That was no koi pond he was fishing on, folks. That was an ocean. People wonder why Kevin Durant's like, maybe this isn't right. And people wonder why James Harden was like, yeah, I don't know if this is the right attitude here in Brooklyn. That's before the Ben Simmons trade, obviously, because he was involved in it. And then Kyrie Irving, maybe, yeah, this isn't for me either. There's supposed to be another dynasty there in Brooklyn. KD was supposed to bring championships with him there to Brooklyn. Not so much. Speaking of, I also mentioned somebody else in my opening monologue there, and that was Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal, we talked about it a little bit yesterday, as a matter of fact, and some stories have come out on him, put up with this other tweet that was out there yesterday. Sources say Wizards star Bradley Beal will decline his $36.4 million player option for the upcoming season to become an unrestricted free agent this summer. It's also according to Hoops Hype. More on Beal's future right there. So that story is out there. It's been reported. It's been talked about. We get around for a second yesterday. Well, apparently Beal responded to this story by just simply saying, wait, huh? Laugh out loud. That's what Bradley Beal tweeted. Real deal Beal 23 put out there on social media yesterday. So he has been very wishy-washy about this whole situation for the last year, really, in terms of whether or not he wanted to stay in Washington, whether or not he wanted to move on from Washington, whether or not he was going to opt in or out of his player option. If he opts out, he gets the unrestricted free agency. I think that's what he's going to do. Other sources, as we referenced yesterday, say that Bradley Beal has already made up his mind as to what team he wants to play for. Might it be the 76ers? It could be. But when you allude to that, you also allude to the idea that the team that you want to play for next year is also maybe the Wizards. So he could be doing nothing. So basically what's surrounding Bradley Beal right now is a whole hell of a lot of speculation and no solid facts. If you're Bradley Beal, I think you want to be on the move at this point. I don't think you want to hang out there in D.C. for another year at least, albeit for $36 million. That's kind of tempting, but I think you want a chance to win and chance to be a big contributor. I don't know how the Sixers would clear the cap space to bring him here, other than the Tobias Harris trade. But I think if you're doing that, if you're D.C., hey, let's just hope that you can get your hand, well, let's say from a Sixers perspective here, obviously. If you're a Sixers fan, You want Bradley Beal to force his way out. Now, that's not going to happen if he's making an unrestricted deal. If they get him in a sign-and-trade situation and he tries to help out the franchise he's coming from, yeah, maybe he forces that. But I don't see how that comes to fruition when all he has to say is, no thanks, and they can do a sign-and-trade deal. Or he could just sign as an unrestricted free agent, not have to worry about anybody else. If you're Bradley Beal, that's what you would do. So I think hope is kind of lost on the idea of adding Bradley Beal. And I think if I'm making the prediction right now, if I got to forecast the start of next season, I think you don't have another big name in there other than PJ Tucker, who everybody knows at this point from his success in the finals and the playoffs and all that stuff. I think you have him in the starting five, and I think you're adding him to Tyrese Maxey. I think you're adding him to Joel Embiid, Tobias Harris, and you have Tucker there, obviously, and then maybe Danny Green as well. I would doubt it, but that's pretty much the deal you're going to go with right there. Harden, Maxey, Harris, Embiid, and PJ Tucker is probably what you're going to end up with as your starting five for next year. I don't see the big, huge deal happening to add another legit star to this lineup. I think the thing that they're betting on the most from this year to next is how much Tyrese Maxey improves and whether or not he can become a 20 to 25 point scorer even in the NBA consistently throughout an entire season. So I think that's what the Sixers are going to be looking at for the rest of the offseason. So I think what you have seen so far is some spoiler alerts, more or less, from the 76ers team. Looking at a guy like Tyrese Maxey, averaged just around 20 points a game, 21 points per game last year. I think they're going to look for him to take another major step forward in the upcoming season as well, and that's what they're going to be betting on as the season goes on. Switching gears now to the Philadelphia Phillies. Bryce Harper missed another game last night with the infected blister in his hand. That's no bueno, because the Phillies' bats last night were abysmal. They get shut out 7-0 in their first game of the 2-game series with the Texas Rangers. The same Rangers team that also gave them the business just last month here in Philadelphia. The Phillies have a big problem here, and I thought Nick Castellanos was just coming out of it. You heard Kyle Schwarber talk about how I even played the cut for you, how Nick Castellanos is a guy that puts the work in every single day. Nick Castellanos is the guy that puts in the work. And you know what? Good for him. I just want to see that work come to fruition on the baseball field. And it hasn't happened. It hasn't happened so much as of late. And last night's an example of that. First inning, Phillies first off, Kyle Schwarber decides to beat the shift by dropping down a bunt. I wish I saw that happen more often. You rarely see it in baseball, but Kyle Schwarber says, they're playing the shift on me. Boop, lays down a bunt, leads off the inning with a bunt infield single. Lovely. Rhys Hoskins comes up, walks. He walked, I think, 4 times yesterday, so the on-base percentage took a nice little bump. All right, way to go, Rhys. Then to the plate is Nick Castellanos, who promptly grounds into the 5-3 double play. One out to go in the inning. 2 down, runner on second at this point as Hoskins takes second. And JT Realmuto, another guy who has struggled. He had 2 hits last night. This wasn't one of them. He ends the inning by grounding out. So you have a runners on first and second, nobody out situation. Nick Castellanos says, let me go ahead and ground out to the third baseman here for a double play. Cool! Then JT Realmuto, who's also struggled with runners in scoring position, steps up with Rhys Hoskins on second and promptly grounds out. That was what felt like, at least, the best opportunity for the Phillies to score. They go scoreless into the 5th inning of yesterday's ballgame. That's when Lowell stepped up and just hit a line drive, don't blink and it's gone, type of home run to left center field. Nothing you could do about that. Kyle Gibson had pitched pretty well up to that point. And then the hit parade kind of started. He had another home run. It was a back-to-back home run. Heim stepped up, hit another home run. That was just over the outstretched arm over the wall of Nick Castellanos, who couldn't get to it. And then they started pouring it on a little bit in the later in the 6th inning. And then the 8th inning is really when you started to see things happen. In the eighth inning is kind of where you come to the next big problem on the Phillies. Castellanos, for all the money that he's getting, you expected a lot more to get than what you're getting right now. But Jeurys Familia, what is it you say you do here? I'm watching him pitch in this game, and I'm seeing him give up home runs. I'm seeing him give up big hits. I'm seeing him struggle on the mound. And I'm thinking to myself, what's the positive from this point on from a 32-year-old former closer that has had his day, and that day is over? What are you trying to get out of him at this point? When he came into the game, it was a 3-0 ball game. It was in hand. Or not in hand. It was still a ball game. All right, it was in reach is what I'm looking for here. The game wasn't out of reach. It was in reach. Jeurys Familia comes into this game and just gives up home runs. Why is he still on this team? His ERA is 5.55 ERA. 5.55 ERA for a guy that you brought in to take a flyer on as a middle relief guy, as maybe a guy, best case scenario, would be your bridge to your closer. Oh, 7th, 8th inning guy, maybe a closer role here and there if things really work out, and they have not worked out. Jose Alvarado and Norwood are guys that have a worse ERA. They're the only two guys on this team, not including Garrett Stubbs, God bless him, that have a worse ERA on this team with at least 20 games under their belt. And what happened to those guys? Well, Alvarado's been sent down to the minors. He's back. Norwood's been outrighted for the team he's been traded to. So what are you waiting for when it comes to Jeurys Familia? What more do you need to see? You took a shot. It did not work out, so let's move on. What more do the Phillies need to see from Jeurys Familia? I don't need to see him on the mound anymore. I especially don't need to see him on the mound in a 3-run baseball game like we saw yesterday. So at what point is Dave Dombrowski, what point are the rest of the front office members and Rob Thompson, is Rob Thompson trying to make a point at this point? I need some bullpen help. This ain't it. Because I very much doubt an interim manager in his first month of interiming is going to go out there and say, yeah, I'm going to keep on trotting out Familia because I got nobody else, and I'm going to make a point to the front office. I doubt that's the case. But that's kind of what it feels like right now. You're not getting anything good from them. And when you show what you have done with guys that have similar ERAs but a little bit worse, I think the precedent has been set. And it's either time to DFA him, it's time to get rid of him. I don't see any positive in keeping him around. If he was going to do any flash of anything great, you would have seen it already. And yeah, you haven't seen it. Yet again, it feels like we have a botched bullpen makeover. I love what Sir Anthony Dominguez has been able to do this season. We've talked about him. He should be the closer of this team. Enough messing around. Let us at least know that we have a solid closer. Now let's work on getting the guys that can actually get to him. And we can all feel a lot better about life. At what point does Dave Dombrowski and the rest of this front office come to that conclusion? What more is it going to take? You get an ERA in the mid-5s. Alvarado, Norwood, you don't pitch in the big leagues for at least an extended period of time. Yet, Jeurys Familia is getting time in a 3-run ball game. It's beyond me. We all know it. I think the Phillies even know it. It's just a matter of how much of this they're willing to take. Phillies have been playing some great baseball. They're now 3 games out of a wild card spot. I know they got the Cardinals in between them and maybe the Brewers before they get to the Braves in the final wild card spot right now in the National League. So the Phillies have been playing some great baseball. They lost back-to-back games for the first time in quite a while. Last time this happened, they actually bounced back and they ended up winning 9 in a row. So let's hope that's on the precipice here. But they got another long road trip still ahead of them here, especially starting out after this with the Padres for a long series out there in San Diego. At what point are the Phillies going to say, we've had enough? We know we might not have the answer, but now we're at least starting to eliminate what we know is not the answer. And Jeurys Familia, not the answer. Frustrating as all hell to watch that again last night. That's the thing, too. Game was cooking along, man. It was like an hour and 20 minutes into the game. They're already in the the fifth inning. I remember looking at the clock, like, oh, so not even 9:30 in the fifth inning already. This game's cruising. Of course, there were no runs scored. There wasn't a lot of offense. You're getting double plays, both teams left and right last night. And Kyle Gibson, I thought, gave the Phillies an opportunity to try to get some runs, at least take a lead, I should say. And the bats just couldn't do it last night. So it was an unfortunate performance by the Phillies against a team that, for whatever dumb reason, has their number. Hopefully the Phillies bounce back today. A little bit of an earlier start time today. I think it's 4:05 game time tonight. I'll get to that officially in the morning rush. So we'll talk about all that and more. And a good time also to have Zach Wheeler on the mound. Also, one last thing on post-game last night. Watching my man Ricky Bo, who I got to hang out with a little bit at the Michael Barkan Family Foundation golf event on Monday. And Ricky and I were catching up, and I love what he had to say after last night's game. If you signed Jairus Familia to be a seventh inning guy or eighth inning guy, if you signed him to be that, you should know at this point that he's not that. So then you downshift the expectation and the role, and you say, all right, middle relief guy. Give me a solid sixth inning if my starter gets chased, right? Give me a solid maybe latter stages of the sixth inning for 2 outs or 1 out in that inning. Get me 1 out in a good matchup here. And he fails that, and then you give him a full inning last night, if not a little bit more, and he still gives up bombs. So what are you using him for? Like, the experiment's done. The roll of the dice is done. So what's his role on this team right now? If he's not going to be a mop-up guy, or you're up 7-0 in the eighth inning, if you're not going to use him in that role, which is probably the only role the Phillies really should use him in, or you're down 10-3, whatever it is in the later innings, then you burn his arm instead of somebody else's that could be more valuable in a more crucial situation. So if you're not doing that, then what are you doing? I'll tell you what you're not doing. This is more to Ricky's point last night, is, again, not using them in a 3-0 ball game where it's still, as I said, in reach. Ricky knows it. I know it. You know it. Why doesn't the Phillies know it yet? So that's where I'm at right now in life. I'll get to this now. I caught more of an interview with John Tortorella yesterday. I saw Deuces Rogers of 6ABC caught up with him at the Voorhees skating facility, Flyers skate zone, right? And when you get known for something, when you get, whether it's a personality trait, something you do, I don't know, sometimes people will start to stray away from that thing that they're known for, but they feel like they have to continue to act a certain way just so they don't disappoint people. Oh, this is what I'm known for, so I can't abandon it. This is what I got to be like. When sometimes people actually either mature a little bit, they get a little bit wiser a little bit. And I think John Tortorella and even the Nasty Knuckles guys, when they were on with me last week, they were talking about how John Tortorella isn't that same John Tortorella that you saw with the Rangers or the Blue Jackets even, or especially not what he was when he was at the Tampa Bay Lightning. He's calmed down a bit. He's still passionate. He's still got that fire, but he is picking his battles as to when to use that fire a little bit wiser as a 63-year-old head coach. Shouldn't it be 64, I believe. He was talking to Deuce Rogers yesterday about how he's not going to chase the perception. And I thought to myself, that's really important, because if the MO of him, which we all know, if the reputation of him is that fiery guy that you're terrified of as a player or a media member, right? If that's his reputation, he shouldn't go out of his way to try to play that character if that's no longer him. I still think he will be that fiery guy, but if he starts chasing that and it's like he is getting over the top frustrated with situations that we all look at and go, well, why, that's not that. Why is he that fiery about it? Then it'll start to come off as fake. It'll start to come off as forced. And people in this town, man, they don't like a phony. And they go after phonies and exploit. Hey, look, Ben Simmons, when everything really started to hit the fan, a lot of people thought he was phony. I think he's phony. I can't stand the guy. People in this city looked at Donovan McNabb as if he was a phony. They looked at him as if, oh, he doesn't really want to win. He would like to win if it happens, but if Super Bowl doesn't fall in his lap, he'll be okay. Like, that's why people don't get along with the whole perception of Donovan McNabb. That's why whenever I get asked by football fans outside our market about, oh, why doesn't Philly like Donovan, is because they don't believe him. The whole TO thing shot a huge light on that. And that, I think, was the end-all, be-all for McNabb. So when you see someone in this city that you find as being fake or a phony, you tend to really abandon that person as fast as possible. It happened with Chip Kelly once people figured out that guy was a phony. And now John Tortorella is in a similar boat. If he ends up forcing issues of passion, people look at it and go, oh, yeah. He's just kind of, he's yelling for the sake of yelling. He's being angry for the sake of being angry. His default mechanism has become fury. And then people look at that and go, that's not real. No, this guy ain't it. And if we're thinking that on the outside, imagine what the players are thinking on the inside. Like, this guy's yelling at me, just yelling at me. And hopefully, I don't think, and this is why I give credit to John Tortorella. I think he knows that about people in general, not just Philadelphia, not just in sports. If people get the sense that you're just being angry just to be angry, it's the boy crying wolf. I mean, I've worked for a number of different personalities in my life. Sometimes people yell just to yell, and you're like, okay. Like, it doesn't start to really sink into people the way it should. You ever play with a coach that just was yelling for no reason? Like, if you're playing even high school, maybe even 8th grade, you were playing for somebody that was just yelling? Like, okay, I get it. You're doing that for you. I gotta admit, and I might have mentioned this on the show before, but you guys know I'm a big Seinfeld fan. Seinfeld was not an actor, and he's acknowledged such many different times. And I forget what episode it was of Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee, but somebody said to him, you could tell on the show that you didn't really like acting. And he goes, yeah. If there was ever a scene where somebody, Elaine, George, Kramer, whoever it was, whatever character, was going off and screaming and like really into their acting, he goes, if you look at me, if you look at Seinfeld, if you look at me, the expression on my face is, wow, you're really into this. Usually when people get really, really angry in a non-life-threatening situation, I tend to look at them, especially if they were yelling at me, even as a kid, and I'd be like, wow, you're really into this whole anger thing. You're doing this more for you than you are for me. But go ahead, please, by all means, whatever helps you, whatever makes you feel better. And occasionally people would catch that look on my face and they'd understand, and they'd go to an even higher level of anger. Or maybe even lower, depending on how you will look at it. What I'm saying is, I don't think John Tortorella can come in here and just start spitting fire at players. I think one of the other things he's talked about is how, yes, I'm a passionate guy, basically, but I also have love for my players. I'm not looking to degrade anyone. I'm not looking to bully anyone. I'm looking to make guys improve in any way I could do that. And the story that always comes to mind about that is the Bill Parcells story about Jeff Hostetler and Phil Simms before they won the Super Bowl against the Bills and another Norwood. He said that Hostetler was a guy that you had to talk sweet to, baby. And Phil Simms was a guy you had to like yell and scream at. And now neither one are on the same level of quarterback. Now Hostetler ended up winning the Super Bowl as a backup, of course, behind a pretty damn good defense. But the point is you have to manage your personalities. And I think that's what John Tortorella is getting after. I think that his natural reaction is fire. And I think that he will find some players on this team that perhaps need a little bit more of that. Just as an example, a little bit more of that sweet talk, baby. Scott Lawton might be a guy you got to yell and scream and get in the face of. Joel Farrellby might be the guy. It's like, hey, Joel, it's a great play, but what we need from you in this situation, that kind of thing. So I think I do. I really look forward to this Flyers season. And here's what I can guarantee. The Flyers will be relevant this year. Whether in the standings or not in the standings, they're going to be relevant because John Tortorella is going to give us some fodder. Anytime you have a coach on the bench that gives you the most passion, it gives you as much passion as guys in the stands, yeah, that's going to be relevant. That's going to warrant a lot of attention. So I look forward to that. Let me tell you about Destination Retirement, ladies and gentlemen. Destination Retirement. Mike Seibert is a retirement income certified professional Destination Retirement LLC and a partner of 1847 Financial and an advisor for Eagles, Sixers, and Phillies fans only. And you know, John Tortorella, maybe next year the Flyers. When it comes to long-term savings, why are you giving up current enjoyment of your income? The answer is to have income streams in retirement. It only makes sense then to understand how retirement income streams work so that you can direct savings in ways that give you the highest income when you retire. Think of it like climbing a mountain. Is the objective to get to the top of the mountain, or is the objective to get back down the mountain safely? Going up the mountain is your accumulation phase, and going down the mountain is your distribution phase. These are the two different phases of your financial life, and each should be addressed separately. This month, let's talk about college planning. We all know that college is expensive. Well, have you ever thought about how it will affect your retirement? Let Mike show you an efficient way to help you pay for your kids' college education and still retire on your own terms. The first step is to avoid starting your growth cycle over by depleting accounts like 529s for big expenses like college. You don't want to lose your position on your growth cycle and have to start over. You can't get that time back. Instead, set yourself up with the ability to use vehicles that you can take money out of without starting your growth cycle over again. Find out how your annual retirement savings can help your college savings and how your annual college savings can help your retirement savings. Michael, set up your own portal and retirement analyzer, then use the software to help you navigate through the different phases of your financial life. For questions or to set up a meeting with Mike, you can email him at GoBirds at 1847 Financial. That's GoBirds at 1847 Financial, or call his office at 484-275-6035. That's 484-275-6035. You can also visit his website at destinationretirement.com. And as always, go Birds. How about Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers, the other corner of 8th and Walnut, right there on Jewelers Row? Do what I do, folks. When it comes to all your jewelry purchases, check out my friend Steven Singer Jewelers. First, check out IHateStevenSinger.com. Always fast and free shipping at IHateStevenSinger.com. That's a guarantee. Just like his perfect price guarantee. Two people like to say I hate Steven Singer. One is the person looking to buy a diamond. Oh, they're so expensive. Oh, but he makes it so easy at Steven. I got to buy that diamond. I hate Steven Singer. The other, and most likely, other jewelers who mark things way up just to mark it down a couple of bucks in front of you. Oh, you're such a good negotiator. The thing's already marked down. So when you come in, there's no pressure. You're getting that perfect price. The perfect price that the person next to you is paying is the same price that you're going to be paying. It's the perfect price guarantee. So everyone that walks in gets taken care of and treated like family, not just with the perfect price, but also with the jewelry expert that's walking you through everything. Because a real jewelry expert is standing by at the ready to help you look at all the beautiful, dazzling diamonds of Steven Singer Jeweler. So do what I do. When it comes to all your jewelry purchases, trust one man, one name, Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. IHateStevenSinger.com. That's IHateStevenSinger.com. How about the people of Rothman Orthopedics who bring us our guests tomorrow? Amy Fadul will be helping us preview the NBA draft and what the Sixers could have going on in the NBA draft. So Amy Fadul will be joining us tomorrow on the Rothman Orthopedics guest line. But how about this? Maybe your knee gave out, maybe you tweaked your back, or maybe you popped your shoulder. Lord knows I've done that too many times. And now you can't do what you used to do. Well, let's just start. That's just part of getting older, right? Wrong. Not if you use the Rothman approach to orthopedics. The Rothman approach to orthopedics will get you back to being you. Back to running, walking, working, and playing. Back to living your life the way you want. With same-day appointments available, you can start today at RothmanOrtho.com. That's RothmanOrtho.com. Rothman Orthopedics, the official orthopedic partner of your Phillies, Eagles, and Sixers. That's RothmanOrtho.com. How about the Versus Game app? If you haven't checked out this new app yet, check out the logo right here for the people on the podcast. It's an awesome logo I just put up on the screen for the Versus Game. Versus Game is where it's at. Right now, our question is, will the Sixers be trading away their 23rd overall pick? That's the question. Yes or no? It's always yes or no. It's always binary, at least. It's always this or that every single time on the Versus Game app. It's just that simple. And plus a little video of me asking the question as well to give you a little bit more context of the question. You can win yourself some money. You can win yourself some great stuff with the Versus Game app. So, ladies and gentlemen, download it to your phone right now in the Google Play Store. Download it to your phone from the App Store. Follow at Farzy Show and try to answer correctly all the questions that we ask. Versus Game app is where it's at. So download the Versus Game app to your phone right now. Let the games begin. How about Freestone Farm CBD? FreestoneFarmCBD.com. You like CBD? You use CBD? Do you enjoy CBD? How do you enjoy 20% off your CBD? If you use Farzy, that's promo code Farzy at freestonefarmcbd.com. You get 20% off at checkout. How amazing is that? freestonefarmcbd.com. Promo code Farzy for 20% off. My, oh my, you'll love their new incredible menu. You got to check it out at freestonefarmcbd.com. Their insane tropical tasting Bayox clocks in at a chart-topping 24.1%. And Super CBD, which is half Hindu, Kush, and 21%. The genetics of these guys don't get any better than this. FreestoneFarmCBD.com. They grow all their premium hemp flower in the Garden State with all organic inputs and IPM. There's absolutely nothing synthetic from farm to jar. So check out FreestoneFarmsCBD.com. And don't forget, after harvest, they carefully preserve all the plant compounds with a perfect 3-month cure. Fantastic. FreestoneFarmCBD.com. Promo code Farzy for 20% off at FreestoneFarmCBD.com. How about PHL Sports Nation, Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs? That's PHLSportsNation.com. Let's jump into our chat check and say hi to all the beautiful people here in the chat. Look at all yous guys. How yous doing? Nice to see you. Popping in the chat today. Kevin, good morning. Sean, what's going on? John Cheeseborough, what's up, buddy? April, how are you? Wait a minute. Why is this happening? Why are we putting Dan Schwartz in the corner over Jairus Familia? John saying hello to everybody. April saying hello. Mickey Diaz, what's going on? Sean Gillespie, what's going on? Mally! How you doing? John Cheesebro, Thibault is useless offensively, and his defense isn't good to say the Sixers shouldn't move him. Isn't good enough to say the Sixers shouldn't move him. So based on that, who wants to drive him to the airport? Everybody! Everybody drives Thibault to the airport. Woohoo! Mickey Diaz, everybody. John Cheesebro, I still feel like Tucker wants to go back to Miami. I think Tucker's looking to make more money. That's what I think, in all honesty. I mean, $30 million, he's going to be making a nice chunk of change right there. And as we know, guaranteed over those 3 years, it's pretty damn good. Makes a lot more sense than $7 million on a 1-year deal. So I think that's what he's trying to do right now. Mullet? What's going on, Mullet? Wait, Mally, why are we... All right, everybody. This is dedication. Mally right now is hiding in the bathroom stall at work watching the show. Mally, are you baking out the bathroom? Mally, are you baking out the bathroom? That's all I'm going to ask. I'm not going to ask about anything else you're doing. You're doing God's work, my friend. Mullet, how you doing? Oh, Mullet says that's commitment. And it is. It absolutely is. Mally, Mullet Farzy Nation, my guy. There you go. Yes, I Mullet, yes, I feel the vibration. April, thank you. Once you break out a sledgehammer, it's demo. You know, I did not use a sledgehammer when I was working on my upstairs, expanding our master bedroom and exposing the brick. I used a hammer and chisel because there was plaster on the brick. And a couple of my neighbors walked by and they're like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I was like, "I'm making the new statue David, like Michelangelo." That's what I'm doing. But yeah, it looks beautiful now. I should show you guys a picture sometime. I should show you the picture. BS loves the thought of basketball and the fame of it. Oh, Ben Simmons loves the thought of basketball and the fame of it. That's it. Never wanted to put in the work. Certainly seems like it, April. And how about those shots of Tyrese Maxey? What, he hit 14 threes in a row? No, I don't get hyped about it in those videos. But I do get hyped a little bit when I know it's somebody that's actually good and somebody that's actually going to use it in a game. So that's good. Sean Gillespie, the idiots in the national media need to apologize to all the city of Philadelphia for lazy takes on Ben in a so-called toxic environment. Yeah, I believe Ben made it toxic. I agree with you, Sean. Interesting. John Cheeseborough, I think Beal is one of the rare types of players like Damian Lillard. I think he wants to build a winner with the only team he knows and doesn't want to take a quick ride to a ring. Interesting. Mickey Diaz says, bring on Beal to Philadelphia. He'll make a fantastic troll alongside Embiid, especially Twitterverse. In the Twitterverse. John and Mickey. John, I think Beal would leave. Because I think he would have announced, if he really wanted to stay, and that was his goal, that it would have come out already that he wants to stay. Like James Harden wants to be in Philadelphia. It's already come out that he will re-up, or he will sign the opt-in for $47 million, which is a tad bit more than $30 million. But I think if that was the case with Bradley Beal and he wanted to stay in DC and build, I think it would have already been out that he is opting in. That's the only thing I'll say that kind of counters that. Mickey Diaz, bring on Beal. I would still take Beal. I just don't know how they do it with cap space, and I don't know how they do it with a trade. And if you do a sign and trade, if you're DC, you're going to want more than Tobias Harris. Maybe they trade Tobias Harris still and then sign Beal in the offseason later on. That's still a possibility. Hey guys, sorry I'm late cleaning up Chinatown. Oh, that guy Dan. You're hilarious, Dan. I'm not reading that out loud because I don't know if that's right or not. Do the Wizards have a first-round pick this year? I believe they do, Z. Let me look at the NBA draft order, and I'll let you know. I'm pretty sure they do have a first-round pick. Could have sworn I'd seen him. Not that. Going total boomer over here, folks. I can't you Googleize anything. Oh, yeah, if I put the word draft in, that helps. Hey, Miss Scusi. Yeah, they have the 10th overall pick. Let me just make sure they don't have two firsts. Yeah, just in the one. So, yeah, just to confirm that. Let's see here. Screaming A was the John says Screaming A was the closest to apologizing for it. Tyvita, good morning, Tyvita. Vince Jordan, can we donate Familia to my local AAA team? Vince, you up there in Lehigh Valley? I don't even know if they would want him. John Cheeseman, Ricky Bo went in last night. He was great last night. Mally says he misses you, Tyvita, or misses you too, Tyvita. Tyvita misses Mally. Oh, this is nice. Dan Schwartz, 3 years, $30 million for PJ Tucker. Really? He averaged 7 points per game. He does bring toughness, but that amount of money, you could probably buy 3 Farzy shirts. Nice shirt, man. Dan, I hope you enjoyed the shirt. I want you to know that when we started the Farzy show, I had people say, okay, so if you sell shirts, they'll be $30 a piece. I said, $30? I feel like for a T-shirt, anything with a 3, no. Like I think they're $25 on FarsyShow.com. They make great holiday gifts. You know what else they make great just random summer gifts is what they do. Brad Foote is terrible. Tyvita, that's great. Suarez is worse. Nola has been the most consistent, Tyvita. Hopefully Wheeler can get this done today. John would still take Wheeler over Nola. Yeah, based on last year and the early goings of this year, sure. This year's definitely a tougher call. Familia is useless. Alvarado can only throw gas, but he has no control. A lot of time he'll find the strike zone by accident. John, I agree. Dan, this is why you're my kind of guy. JC, would it be inappropriate to ask who's the better sir? Sir Anthony Dominguez or Sir Elton John? I'll let the piping hot takes flow in after that one. Tyvita, funny story. My brother used to play baseball. He's left-handed. My mom went to buy him a baseball glove and told them he was a left-handed pitcher. Told him he was left-handed. They kept trying to give her a right-handed glove. And she was mad. Never send somebody who doesn't know about sports into a sporting goods store. Oh, God, Mark's talking about me. I'm sorry. That's Dan Schwartz. I know I'm well known for loving these fresh pressed. Those T-shirts, fresh pressed, beautiful scented swag. Approved T-shirts. I'm sorry. It's not fake or forced, I promise. Daniel, I know. Ray Fitzgerald. What's up, Ray? Phillies should cut ties with Alvarado and Familia. You have some decent minor league pitchers out there. Why not give them an opportunity? I'm all for it. By the way, I was looking at Logan O'Hoppe in the minors for two reasons. One, I wanted to make sure I knew how to pronounce his name. Logan O'Hoppe. The kid is tearing the cover off the ball. Catching prospect for the Phillies in Double-A right now. Having himself a time. Sean Gillespie, I used to look at people/family that would raise their voice to me in a certain way and would be told I was the one not right in the head. It's a fine point. Old people always yell about nothing. That is a beautiful point, Tyvita. Dan, you're hilarious. Jim Grassmeter, I don't see a team wanting to buy us. On that money, I don't see it either. Mullet, do you do the ba-da-dee-da-da-da chat check bit when grinding coffee beans or chores at home? I can totally see it. I actually don't. I wish I could remember for you the riff that I do in my head, and I don't know where I got it. It's in my head. It's not original. I got it from, I think it was a play I saw. Yeah. I'll track it down and I'll try to locate where the hell that is, where that came from, and plant it in the recesses of my brain. Thibault, why would a team want Thibault? I don't get it. Well, defense, that's the only reason. And the 23rd pick, maybe. Sixers keep signing all these free agents. It didn't work. They want a championship and they're priced themselves out. Who's going to be affordable in the NBA? These games are a joke, right? I think I got that. Sixers keep signing all these free agents. It don't work. They want a championship. And there are priced themselves. Ray, they're not doing it, I think is what your point is. Appreciate all you guys. Oh, see, Tyvita, I think it is looking good. You want to get rid of that draft pick, but it's not looking good. I think they will get rid of that draft pick, or at least trade whoever they get. I think with everything going the direction it is right now, I think the Sixers are going to move Matisse Thybulle and that 23rd pick by draft night. So I don't think they will have it. Amy Fadul will join us tomorrow to help us go through all that. Mullet, it's hilarious. I make up words all the time in my class. I don't blame you. Little scat, little jazz scat for you guys. Thanks to everybody in the chat. Check, you guys are great. Always appreciate you. Let's get into our morning rush brought to you by Sky Motorcars, SkyMotorcars.com. 4:05 start time today against the Rangers. Phillies will try to split this 2-game series, go another 4 games up on 500. They're 36-33 right now. Zach Wheeler gets the ball against John Gray. John Gray, a right-handed pitcher. He's 2-3 on the season with a 4.27 ERA. And John Gray is coming off a performance where, well, what do you know? Just like last night's pitcher, he's coming off a pretty stellar performance. 7 innings, shutout ball, 5 hits, 0 walks issued. That was his first back-to-back good starts in a little bit of time there. He also had a 6-inning performance, 1 run allowed on 3 hits. And that was against the White Sox. Against the Lions, he went 7 scoreless. Before that, he had kind of alternated bad starts. So we'll see how it shapes out tonight for the Phillies. John Gray, as I said, a right-handed pitcher going up against the Phils tonight at 30 years of age. Zach Wheeler gets the ball for the Phillies tonight. Zach Wheeler 6-3 with a 2.69 ERA. Zach Wheeler's come off that 7-inning performance against Washington Nationals where he allowed just 1 run. So let's cross our fingers that he's got it again tonight against this Rangers team. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, everybody. Much appreciated. My name is Marc Farzetta. We'll catch you guys tomorrow with a little NBA draft preview with our friend Amy Fadul of NBC Sports Philadelphia. Thanks, everybody. Jim Hyden produced the program. This is a Buzz Sports Entertainment production. Hopefully, Jaris Familia doesn't pitch again for the Phillies. That'd be nice. Farzy Show.